can do. So tenemos una forma de privacidad que le voy a dar a la congresista, que eso oficialmente va a abrir para que ella pueda ver qué es lo que puede hacer en el caso de Laura.
Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. I want to thank Mr. Espinoza and Fial for its courage. This is not a journey that is unique. We have joined together before, tragically, for a number of cases where families have been separated and they have been divided and they have been frightened. And so I want to thank Attorney Mintz for accepting the call and preparing a document to reopen the case as quickly as possible. Maria Diaga family has been through the journey that we have been fighting against the Trump administration in the narrative given that the crisis at the border is a crisis that will endanger the American people, and that it will not. For those of us who have been to the border, and those of us who have studied the facts, the largest number of persons fleeing are women and children, like the Maradiaga family, fleeing violence and murder and mayhem from Central America. This family is from El Salvador. With this privacy form, I will be able to address the petitioner. This is a judicial action. It is in the immigration courts, which, by the way, those of us who are fighting to have a real comprehensive immigration solution have indicated to the president that rather than walls, what we need are more judges and clerks who are heavily burdened because of the lack of resources to do their job. In addition, we need to be able to petition the petitioner. In this instance, the agency that deals with deportation is ICE. And I believe if ICE understood that most of this are administrative errors, clerical errors, that is generated in sending a young girl by the name of Laura home to violence. Let me share with you that this family has lost a brother, a cousin, their father was murdered, and the brother who was traveling with Mrs. Maradiago was killed coming across the border. They indicated when they came across that they were fleeing violence. This is a story in the local paper, and this is a 12-year-old. It is horrific to see, but the violence is extensive. And one of the children who is in school was pursued to be part of a gang. This mother fled for her life. These are the numbers of people that I see at the border. These are the people at the tents. These are the people that are being forced to stay on the side, the Mexican side, for months at a time. Included in that was the government shutdown in order to petition for asylum. These individuals were taken into custody. They were given an ankle bracelet. They sought and explained that they were fleeing violence. They were expressing it in the way that they can express it, and legally they have the right to seek asylum. Interestingly enough, and I want to read these dates to you, these are the dates that this family appeared in court. They did not miss one. It was two daughters and mom. November 1st, 2018. November 15th, 2018. November 29th, 2018. December 13th, 2018. December 27th, 2018. January 10th, 2019. The 24th of February, this is in Spanish. February 7th, February 21st, and March 12th. March 12th, when a clerk said to Laura, "You're not on the docket today, come back." The other two, mom and older sister, were slated to come back April 30th. It was in the interim of that time, was it March 12th, that she was giving a deportation order under the false pretense that she had not showed up, or mistake of the fact that she had not showed up. So it is a combination of a clerical error. We're going to throw ourselves on the mercy of the court with this document that our counsel will speak to, that says that all of this was not the fault of this family under the laws of this country. And I think people are rightly outraged to even suspect that our process would deport an 11-year-old by herself. But more importantly, a family that can document violence and death in their own family and the recruiting of a 15-year-old for gang activity. So my role is going to be, as they open this case, which I cannot imagine with the clerical errors that have occurred, is to work with our side of the ledger, which is clearly to say to ICE that they have followed the basic rules and the rights of seeking asylum. And as a nation, do we want to be defined as deporting a child alone? Now, their argument would be, and I'm going to presuppose it, they all can go back. They can go back to their deaths. I know the conditions of Central American countries. This is the rise in violence that have occurred over the last couple of years, and we have seen these families come who, if they did not leave, they would be in the predicament of seeing this. We hear these stories at the border, and we see them. And so in a meeting that we had over the weekend, over the last 78 hours and Friday, documentation was put up that showed us that the largest number of those coming across in this year, in 18, were women and children. That is the threat that has been called a national crisis. And that is the group of people that the administration is saying, I'm going to send to people's districts who happen to be welcoming districts. These children, this mom, should not be political pawns, and we hope the court will recognize that, and I will be a complement in the work of dealing with ICE on the absolute wrong decision that she should receive a deportation order. And as the ICE agency, or the agency that was the plaintiff, if you will, they can withdraw that deportation order on the basis of the mischaracterization of her not showing up. By the way, I don't think she drives. I don't think she can drive herself here. She was brought here all of these times by her family. Let us in this court show a little mercy and let the facts come out about who really is coming to the border and how we can be more effective on behalf of the American people in securing the border with judges, more Border Patrol agents, more points of entry to allow people to legally make their statement and to follow the legal process of asylum. I look forward to it, and Attorney Mintz, let me thank you. And before I do that, nombre?
Hello, my name is Miss Laura.
You have to say it again because of the nombre again.
Hello, my name is Laura.
Okay, this is Miss Laura, and we're happy for you. Okay. So, okay. We're not down. Thank you. Oh, you're going. Okay.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Once again, we want to thank the Congresswoman for stepping in on this case. I know multiple people have called her office, our office, because they're very concerned about this case. So we want to thank you again for being a champion for our community and for being a champion on immigration. We'll now go ahead and turn it over to Sylvia Mintz. She'll explain what's going on today with court. And she'll say a statement in English and then she'll repeat in Spanish. So ahora vamos a atender a Sylvia Mintz, la abogada, que va a explicar legalmente lo que estamos haciendo hoy y va a hacer un recuento en inglés y después un recuento en español de qué administrativamente estamos haciendo hoy. So, Attorney Sylvia Mintz. We also want to commend Attorney Sylvia Mintz because she is taking this case pro bono, and we need more attorneys like her to step up with this immigration crisis that we have. We need more attorneys to come forward and to be able to advocate families in the way that she's doing. También queremos agradecer a Sylvia Mintz porque está tomando el cargo sin costo alguno, como todas las organizaciones que estamos ayudando, y realmente necesitamos más abogados que vengan y que peleen por las familias, por la crisis que estamos enfrentando con esta administración. Gracias.
Today we will be filing the motion to reopen, which is already drafted and I have here. Hopefully, with this motion, the judge will set aside the deportation and allow us with the asylum claim that the family will pursue. After we file this today at the courthouse, the judge will take this into consideration and it will decide whether to reopen it or not. In case the judge decides not to reopen the case, we will go ahead and appeal with the Board of Immigration Appeals, but I expect that on the face they will see the error, the mistake that was made, which was not due to any fault of my client, who was always here at court. And actually, while we were drafting the motion, we realized that there were more than one mistake, because on March 12th, the mother got a notice saying that she needed, on March 12, 2019, the mother got a notice saying that she had to show at court on March 9, 2019, 3 days before March 12. So that's one of the examples of the errors that the court is making, and it's not at fault of the judges or the clerks. It's actually because the immigration system is broken and the clerks and the judges are overworked. So we are hoping today that with this motion we will be able to reopen the case and keep Laura with her mother and her sister. Okay, buenos días, mi nombre es Silvia Mins. El día de hoy vamos a presentar esta moción para reabrir el caso. Esperamos que con esta moción la jueza ordene que se cancela la deportación y podamos continuar con el caso de asilo para Laura y su familia. Creemos que la jueza aprobará la moción, ya que es un error claro de parte de la corte y no de mi clienta, la cual se presentó a todas sus cortes como debía de hacer. Si la jueza decide que no reabrirá el caso, entonces la siguiente vía legal es la mesa de apelaciones de inmigración, que espero que no tengamos que llegar ahí. Incluso cuando estábamos trabajando en el caso, encontramos más que un error. Encontramos que el 12 de marzo del 2019, Dora, la mamá de mi clienta, recibió una noticia para presentarse el 9 de marzo del 2019. Lo que ellos querían decir, creemos, es que querían que vinieran el 9 de abril. La mamá de mi clienta se presentó el 9 de abril, estuvo hasta las 5 de la tarde esperando y no la atendieron. Cuando regresó el 10 de abril fue cuando se dio cuenta que Dora tenía orden de deportación. Entonces el día de hoy presentaremos esto en la ventana de la corte. El juez después decidirá si lo reabre o no y tendremos noticias muy pronto. Gracias.
Thank you, Sylvia Mintz. So once again, it really does take a village. There's a lot of people coming together in the case of Laura. We do want to emphasize also that over the weekend we did set up a GoFundMe account where 100% of the proceeds will go to the family so they can continue to pay for their basic necessities as well as any other thing that could pop up in their case or any of their cases. So lo que también queremos recalcar que realmente toma a una comunidad para poder abogar por estas familias. Durante el fin de semana hemos hecho un GoFundMe para la familia para poder ayudar y queremos agradecer a todas las personas que han donado hasta el momento. We want to thank all the people that have graciously donated, who have stepped forward and want to help out this family in any way that they can. So now we will hear from Laura and her mother Dora about how they feel today. So ahora vamos a escuchar de Laura y de Dora cómo se sienten hoy. They will be speaking in Spanish since they do not speak English, and I'll try to translate or do a synopsis for them after they are done. So now we'll have 11-year-old beautiful Laura come up and speak.
That's Selena.
Yes, sir. and it's important to point out that she's wearing a very Texas Selena shirt because she told us over the weekend that she likes Selena. So, ¿cómo te sientes hoy? How do you feel today?
Me siento feliz y que me están ayudando.
I feel happy that there's people that are coming together to help me. ¿Qué hiciste durante el fin de semana? What did you do over the weekend?
Jugar con Lalo y dormir.
Okay, she says that she played with her dog Lalo and that she slept. ¿Cómo te sentiste después del fin de semana que cuando empezaron a ir a la gente? How did you feel over the weekend as people started helping you?
Feliz de que me van a ayudar.
I feel very happy that there's people that are coming forward to help me. ¿Y cómo te sientes hoy de que vamos a hacer el proceso? ¿Tienes temor? ¿Tienes alguna? How do you feel today that we're going to start this process?
Tengo miedo todavía.
I'm still afraid. Any questions that you all have for Laura? You guys know what is your biggest fear?
De que me deporten y dejar a mi familia.
My biggest fear is that I may be deported and that I may leave my family behind. Thank you. ¿Cómo se siente hoy? How do you feel today?
La verdad es que sí, ya un poco más relajada, aunque no de todo bien porque el problema no se ha llevado un poco, o sea, siempre sigue pues. Entonces nosotros estamos en eso que todavía hasta no ver resultados de esto, siempre vamos a tener ese problema, ese temor a que ella me la puedan separar de mí.
I feel a little bit better today, a little bit more relaxed that we're going to start this process. But at the end of the day, I still feel worried because I know this is going to be a long process and we still have a lot to go through. But I feel a little bit better today that they're starting to help. ¿Cómo se siente de todo el apoyo que recibió de la comunidad?
Pues la verdad de las cosas que me siento bien porque yo sé que son angelitos que Dios me ha mandado y que pues en mi país nunca tuvimos esa ayuda. De hecho, mucha gente nos criticó, pero yo sé que Él va a hacer la obra.
I feel very thankful that there's many people that have come forward. I think of these people as angels, and in fact, I feel a lot of support from the U.S. community in our country. Many people did not support us, and in fact, criticize us for making the decision to come to the United States.
Can I ask her to tell us what it would be like going back to El Salvador?
¿Cómo sería para usted regresar a Salvador?
Ahora sería mucho peor todavía porque pues con todo esto que se ha dado sería peor todavía.
It would be even worse now because of everything that's happened. I fear that things would be worse if I were to be returned to El Salvador.
Can I just say something? This is evidence of refugee status as well. The migration that was in Europe was the same kind of fear that many were fleeing. They had refugee status. And so in essence, many of these individuals who are fleeing, who are migrating, can also legitimately come under refugee status, which gives them the ability to not only seek asylum, but to seek the ability to stay in the country because they're fleeing for their life and they could be treated as a refugee until further processes would proceed. And they need to be given that chance to analyze their story, to analyze the people who have been killed in their family, the particular community that they came from that could be more violent than other aspects of El Salvador. And here we have Laura being deported without that opportunity. And that's what we're going to be working on.
All right, so at this time we'll go ahead and conclude. The family will go in with Attorney Sylvia Mintz to present the petition. And if you guys want to wait around, we can come back afterwards and just make a brief statement of what happened. We'll be back in we'll be back in about 10 minutes to give a synopsis of what happened with the case or what happened inside. And then if you guys have any questions, do you guys have any questions right now? ¿Tienen alguna pregunta ahorita? So lo que va a pasar es vamos a entrar, van a dejar la petición y vamos a regresar en 10 minutos aproximadamente para decir lo que pasó.
So the judge will make a decision today, right now. How quickly is it going to happen?
A couple of weeks.
A couple of weeks. But I don't know if you want to go there, but in the meantime, what happens?
So in the meantime, once you file the motion to reopen, it stays the deportation or suspends the deportation until the judge makes a decision. Entonces, para que quede claro, el juez no va a decidir el día de hoy, pero lo que sucede es que media vez se presenta la moción para reabrir el caso, entonces eso suspende la orden de deportación hasta que el juez haga una decisión. Any other questions?
And this is just, you're calling this a motion, not an appeal?
No, because see, it's a motion to reopen because it's presented to the same judge that made the decision. If the judge that made the decision decides not to reopen the case, then we will be appealing to the Board of Immigration Appeal. So the process is like that you have to file with the trial judge or that is almost like the district level judge, although we have to remember that the federal courts are the immigration courts are Article 2, so it's kind of the trial judge that will have to make the decision.
So this is called a motion to reopen her deportation case?
Yes.
Yeah.
So actually, the title of my motion is Motion to Reopen an in absentia order, an application for a sua sponte order to set aside the deportation order, which means we are asking for the case to be reopened and for the order of removal or the deportation order to stay until the judge decides the motion.
I think you should explain that she was in the courtroom when she was told, oh, you're not on this docket. See you the next time. And in the midst of that, where she was physically in the courtroom, a deportation order came because they didn't handle her and they acted as if she was not in the courtroom. But she was told by a clerk, overwhelmed, judges overwhelmed, that your name is not on the list. It might have been spelled differently. They may not have seen it, or it might not have been on the list. They're so backlogged. And that's why we've been arguing to hurry up and get judges nationally that they would come here as well. I've asked for 75. We probably need a lot more than that. But that, if you're physically in the courtroom and someone that is an agent of the court, an officer of the court is the terminology, tells you, which you'll be able to document, that you're not on this docket, come back, or don't worry, you're on another docket, then you're acting pursuant to the court's instructions.
Eso, la pregunta de la reportera es si, ¿por qué esto no se hace una apelación? No se hace una apelación todavía porque lo primero que tenemos que hacer es una moción para reabrir el caso con la jueza que dio la orden de deportación. Si la jueza que dio la orden de deportación decide que no va a dar la moción para reabrir el caso, entonces procederemos con una apelación con la mesa de apelaciones de migración. Pero por el momento eso es lo que haremos.
How many court dates are on that? Can you count?
Yeah.
Those are the check-ins that the family did
With the court.
with the organization that is contracted by ICE to control them.
So this once again is proof that they're not in any way fleeing or they're not at risk. I mean, they've been doing everything diligently. They've been going to court. They've been going to their check-ins. Mom still has an ankle monitor on her, so they're not trying to flee at all, but rather they're trying to go through the due process that is allowed by law so that they can continue to be here and to continue to claim asylum. So una de las cosas que queremos recalcar también es que la familia ha hecho todo hasta el pie de la letra ahorita, han ido a sus check-ins, han ido a sus cortes, la mamá todavía trae un grillete, so no enfrentan un peligro para ellos que puedan huir a los Estados Unidos.
So, don't worry. To where she was supposed to be.
So it's 10 times? Is that 10?
At least 10.
Did I give you a number or didn't? I'm sorry.
I just counted.
At least 10 times, yes.
So
And this is the court amongst
Yes, because usually they have to check in after they go to court. They are supposed to go and check in to the
organization that supervises.
the supervisors. And that organization is contracted by ICE.
Okay. So we'll now go ahead and walk in with. We'll now go ahead and we'll walk in with the family to make sure that to be able to file this motion.
You all want this back? You want this back? Yes. Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
very
This is
much.
my,
for the-
yes, this is for you.
Yo preferiría por aquí, porque es más largo para que puedas hacer.
Okay. Entonces vamos
quieren ir por allá?
Let's go through this
We're gonna go
entrance.
through the front.
Okay. I'm gonna walk them through.